Damn you, SMU. Absolutely. Like, really, 24 seconds left? You covered for me. I needed you
Right.
in, like, the majority of my bets for the early day. You were up by 24 at halftime. I had you minus 30 and a half, and you only win by 24. What?
The nerve.
Unbelievable. But there's a lot of great football going on today. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the college football edition of the S3. I am your host, JD, along with me, as always, Lady M. Lady M. Wow. There's still, like, with everything that's been going on so far today, like, I haven't even showered. I rolled out of bed, started watching football. It is a great thing out here in the West Coast. It's like 8 a.m. Everything starts with the pregame talk, and then the 9 a.m. kickoffs. I mean, everything's awesome. But we have a lot of football left today to discuss. So we're going to talk about some of the later matchups with Tom Brady teams. We're going to break down what to expect from the new look Army offense a little bit later on, and how will Jayden Daniels do in a big Sunday matchup tomorrow night as his fifth-ranked LSU Tigers travel to Orlando. I believe they're actually playing in Orlando to take on 8th-ranked Florida State. Plus, football origins. How much do you actually really know about the history of the NCAA? Honestly, outside of everybody blaming them for everything that's wrong with college football, I don't know much about the history. Lady M is going to actually teach us a little bit. You're going to get educated today on the S3. So, man, today's a veg day. It's a veg day. I mean, yeah, we got to do a little shopping. And when I say we, I mean Lady M's going out shopping while I continue to watch football.
We're going to have a different football game on each TV and pizza.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's perfect. The way we have it set up. The problem with that, though, here's the problem that I figured out. We set it up with professional football, with NFL football in mind, where we can have 2 games on, because there's only 16 games in a week, and that's if everybody's playing, right? So you can usually narrow it down to 2 games that you want to watch that you're actually intrigued with. The problem with college football is there's 100 freaking games.
Yeah.
And like, you saw me yesterday, even with the like the limited schedule for yesterday, I was going back and forth on one of the 2 TVs with 5 different games.
Yeah. Like a 3-minute time limit, and then you'd switch to a new game to see how they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but I love college football. I absolutely love it, and we're going to get into it. Before we actually really get started, though, let's give a shout out to our main sponsor, as always, Heroes Media Group. Heroes Media Group is a digital media branding and publishing platform committed to providing a voice for our community heroes and those who support them. I got to remember to breathe during these. It's very important to breathe. For more information, oxygen is just overrated. Information on how to launch your podcast and your brand, please go to www.heroesmediagroup.com. I believe I've got a thing to actually show you right there on the bottom, heroesmediagroup.com. For those of you watching on the live on Facebook and our YouTube channels, thank you very much. If you're watching live, put hashtag live. If you're watching on the replay, put hashtag replay. And don't forget to hit that notifications bell on YouTube, I believe, is what I'm trying to figure out how to talk about for the first time, apparently. Don't forget to subscribe, too. That's kind of important. We've got like 25 subscribers. We're kind of new on YouTube. I mean, I put a couple of videos on there in the past, but it's never really been serious. So we're trying to grow it. Let's see if we can get over 100 subscribers this season. You know, me and the lady talking football. Foosball. Ow. Movie. Check it out. All right. Moving on. I have already had my 5-hour energy. I may have had 2.
I couldn't tell.
What's first?
Headlines and horrible jokes.
Horrible jokes. We warned you ahead of time. They're usually one-liners. They're pretty damn close to dad jokes. If not, they are dad jokes. You're going to call them stupid. But we warned you. You're still listening. It's your fault. Headline number 1. The ACC adds Stanford, Cal, and SMU to the conference full-time starting in 2024-2025 season. The ACC has voted to approve expansion to 18 teams, and the addition of Stanford, Cal, and SMU will get them there. The vote came early on Friday morning and was passed by a 12-3 vote with 12 votes needed for approval. Florida State was one of the no votes, as we previously mentioned that FSU has had their lawyers trying to find a way out of their current contract with the ACC so that they can possibly move to like the SEC, I believe is what they want to do. Again, these moves are all about profit sharing. The Pac-12 has no contract for next year and getting pretty damn close to having no teams for next year. SMU Mustangs, a.k.a. Southern Methodist University, which is in Dallas, not sure if you knew that, is coming in from the American Athletic Conference. The American Athletic Conference is rumored to be targeting one of my favorite teams. You can see behind me, Army. Army, be all that you can be in the Army. All right. Pay me for that sponsorship, Army. All right. Question is, will the Pac-12 figure it out before they vanish like a magician behind a bad wall of smoke? The only two teams remaining are Oregon State and Washington State. The most likely scenario is that they will probably join the Mountain West Conference, which is currently at 12 teams. The schools can also join UMass and UConn as independents, as Notre Dame has already jumped to the ACC for next year. So Army, Notre Dame, out. Quite big question mark. Actually, small question mark. Army's probably going to make the leap. So that's how we roll there. You know, there are three types of people in this world. Those that can count and those that can't. And I'm going to take a sip of water because apparently I screwed up my voice. I get nervous when I have to count. It's crazy. You know, look down,
Math showed up.
That's why I don't wear shoes around the house. I want to make sure I get my numbers right. All right. Headline number 2, Kenny Dillingham weathers the storm as Arizona State wins their season opener against Southern Utah. I was there. Hashtag I was there. And it was awesome. It was awesome early when I was on the field doing my IG live and doing the Twitter pics and, you know, all the stuff on Facebook. And, you know, it was awesome. Blue skies changed wicked fast, like by halftime. And we'll get into that here in just a second. The Sun Devils would actually go on to defeat Southern Utah by a final score of 24-21 victory. Literally, again, weathering the storm. So basically what happened was just before halftime, like we get dust storms here and like all the people from Southern Utah, actually, I'm pretty sure Southern Utah people get dust storms because of where they're located. They're basically like just north of the Grand Canyon and they have the same heat. Probably the same weather of like Las Vegas.
Right.
So it gets hot in Vegas. So hot, dry, deserty, if that's a word. I'm using it. So trying to keep an eye on what's going on with Boston College. It looks like NIU is going to take that victory. Potentially, they're up 27-24 right now in overtime. I think that is good to go for them. Boston College didn't wake up until late in the third quarter. They didn't score their first score. So way to show up in front of your home crowd there. BC Eagles also have a flag over there with them, as I am from the area. And all my family's still up there. Majority of my family's still up there. So shout out to the fam. Getting back to ASU freshman quarterback Jayden Rashada went 18 for 31 for 236 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cam Scatabo led all running backs with 71 yards rushing while adding a touchdown. And wide receiver Xavier Guillory led the Sun Devils in receiving with 73 yards and a touchdown. ASU went into halftime with a 21-7 lead. And after a 3-hour tour in the locker room at halftime. They finally came out and kicked off the second half. The game finished at like 1. Sorry, ASU. Like, my bedtime's usually like 9 a.m. And I left when they were still unsure what time they were going to kick off.
Right.
And right when I got to the light rail, I started hearing cheering. And I was told
Yeah.
that the team was gathering in the tunnels. And I'm like, son of a. But I'd already packed up. And
very
ASU,
close to midnight before you got to the light rail.
Yeah, Mountain America Stadium, which I know you love the new name. Mountain America Stadium has 2 ways to get up to where I need to go. The first one is like this climb on a hill, right? Yeah. And I'm not exactly in the best shape. I'm more Pillsbury Doughboy shape at this point. And going up that hill like every year just makes me extremely tired. So you can do that route, or you can go up the 70 to 80 steps that you have to go up to get up there, which, again, man, I am so freaking out of shape. I am telling you. So pizza for lunch today sounds great, by the way. But, yeah, as I was walking up and down those stairs, like, it just reminded me I got to get in shape. Don't judge me. I do want to give a shout out real quick. Happy birthday to the queen of photography for Heroes Media Group, Rhonda Costa. Yesterday was her birthday. I told her yesterday. I actually told her when I saw her Thursday. She had some great pics on our Facebook page for the S3. If you're on it, you can scroll down and see. And you can actually see in some of the pictures where the dirt started flying in, started messing up some of the photos, kind of gave like a fuzz. That's not on her. That's on the freaking weather. She was on the field when that was coming in.
I feel gritty looking at some of those pictures.
I kept texting her. I was like, how you doing down there? She's like, I'm just eating dirt at this point. I'm like, come inside. Unbelievable. Oh, yeah. Happy birthday. You get a dirt cake sponsored by the Arizona Desert. It's awesome. So, yeah, so she was out there. I'll be back out at ASU for this coming week's game, or next Saturday's game, I should say, against Oklahoma State. Photographer will be Alejandro Salazar, who I haven't worked with in a couple of years because we haven't done anything since pre-COVID. So it's going to be great to see him back out there again. Wicked awesome. But again, happy birthday, Ms. Rhonda Costa.
Happy birthday, Rhonda.
Roger that. Hey, why don't dinosaurs talk?
I don't know why.
Because they're freaking dead. All right, moving on. Headline number 4. All right, headline number 3. Excuse me. Jalen Milroe will be tasked as the Alabama Crimson Tide's starting quarterback, beating out Tyler Buckner. Milroe has started a game as a freshman in place of injured Bryce Young, who's actually now with the Carolina Panthers. Alabama kicks off their season tonight against Middle Tennessee. Tough game there for Alabama. Come on. They don't schedule anybody tough anymore. Like, for reals. Nobody does. Like, Georgia is playing, like, some scrub who I'll talk about later for about 10 seconds. That's the only airtime they'll probably get for the entire season. For real. Like they start the season off against slack teams to kind of get the momentum going, and then they play, like, maybe 3 or 4 tough games during the season. It's, yeah. But in their defense, they schedule these games out years in advance. So
they might not have realized there.
Oh no, they knew how bad these teams were. But the slack teams, they make some good money for being in these games for their schools. That's why they want to play them.
Yeah.
So I sold my vacuum the other day. All it did was collect dust. All right. Headline number 4, Colorado head coach Deion Sanders made his debut with the Buffaloes as they took on 17th ranked TCU, and I believe they lost that game. Where's the score on that 17th ranked? I'll pull it up here in just a second. But Deion, man, they were going back and forth with TCU all game long. See if I can pull it up. Ohio State's kicked off. Boise State's kicked off. Buffalo has absolutely no shot against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's going to destroy Buffalo today. Georgia's playing Martin, keeps going down. Michigan basically gave up at halftime. They were up 23-0 and only won 30-3. What's going on there? Tennessee won 49-13, so they covered. Colorado beat TCU at TCU. 17th ranked TCU gone down 45-42. Final. Wow. That is crazy. I think Colorado's got Nebraska next week, but Nebraska hasn't been good since like the 90s. So they should be able to actually win that game. So 3 fish are in a tank. One turns to the other and says, how the hell do you drive this thing? And that, think about it, folks. That was headlines and horrible jokes. What's next?
Terrible. Army football starting over on offense.
Yeah, so like no more triple options. So what are we looking at? Well, for starters, again, no more triple option for Army, but that doesn't mean that they're not still focusing on the run game first. Look for Army to still run the ball for the majority of the time while using the passing game in a quote-unquote complementary fashion. Army's goal is still to control the clock and limit opposing offense opportunities with tough, fast defenses. Outside of the offensive style, the biggest move is at the quarterback position where junior quarterback Bryson Daly, no relationship that I know of to Carson Daly. Bryson Daly is a junior, will make his first start for Army as they travel for the opener at Louisiana Monroe. To assist the new quarterback, Army has a lot of speed in the backfield with Tyrell Robinson having home run speed at the same time. Look for one of my favorite running backs on the team, big powerhouse, Jacoby Buchanan. This guy is 250 pounds and is extremely light on his feet, 6 foot, 250, bulldozer. He can absolutely push a defensive line back by himself. So look for that later on. That is a 4 p.m. kickoff. We'll have that on at least one of the TVs later on. My best bet for this game is Army -9. It's early. Maybe I'm playing the homer tag. Go Army, beat Navy. But I'm taking Army -9 as one of my best bets. What's next?
Heisman Watch. Top 5 favorites to win the Heisman Trophy this year.
All right, so we're going to mention 5 names, but really only the top 2 matter. I'm just throwing that out there. Unless something drastic happens where somebody gets hurt, tears an ACL, not trying to speak that into existence at all. It's basically down to Caleb Williams from USC and Jayden Daniels from LSU in that order. Now, Caleb Williams came out last week in what's called week 0 of college football, where they basically just throw some stuff to be like, hey, college football fans, we're back. So they threw some stuff on TV, called it a real game. Caleb Williams threw for 4 touchdowns last week. They've got another easy game this week against Nevada. Jayden Daniels, on the other hand, he's got a much tougher game. We're going to go into that here in just a second. They got to travel to Orlando to play at, I think it's Orlando Stadium, or I forgot what the hell it's called in Orlando, but it's some corporate, just you love the corporate names. So it's got a corporate name to it. Even if, in my opinion, Caleb Williams comes out and throws for another 4 touchdowns, Jayden Daniels can pass him in his first week by throwing probably 3 touchdowns and a win. 3 touchdowns, no turnovers, and he wins against a much tougher number 8 Florida State. Is that my best bet of the week? I've got a few of them. I don't know. We'll soon find out. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know by now, and if you don't know, where the hell you been? The college football season is here, and that means tailgate and watch parties. Make sure you call the Ultimate Cover 3 for your favorite foods with El Diablo Borracho Hot Sauce. For more information and to pick up your next hot sauce, go to www.diabloborrachollc.com as seen at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, I did that. It's magic. Who sings that song? Why the hell? I've had weird songs, but we were talking about this last night where I was just like,
yeah, we were.
I would love to be a neurologist just so I can figure out what part of the brain just plays these random songs in your head that you haven't heard in decades.
Right, like that jingle for McDonald's in the 80s.
Yeah. It was bad. It's bad. It's terrible. I've got movie quotes and song lines that flow through my head constantly.
They come out of his mouth a lot.
Yeah, well, you kind of have to because I'm like, you should share in the madness that is my mind.
Well, I like
Absolutely. You say you like it. It's like, wow, he's hot, but he's a little freaking crazy. It's just how
I like it. It's hard when you suddenly turn it turns into a quiz. Where's that from? Then I'm like deer in the headlights. I forget every movie.
Where I just randomly throw out a line. What movie's that from?
Yep.
Circle doesn't get the square.
That's why you're like,
Circle doesn't get the square, by the way. Hollywood Squares. That's where that's from. Hollywood Squares. Stay with me. Focus. All right. What's next? Stay focused.
Starting off with the 3 p.m. kickoff.
All right. So.
Oh, sorry. Top teams on the schedule later today. I read the wrong line.
Dude, you're totally not getting a paycheck this week. Totally not getting a paycheck this week. Totally.
Put me down for that one.
All right. So what are we looking at today at 3 p.m. kickoff? We've got Georgia at home taking on UT Martin. Slack team. Now, Georgia has a 15% chance of winning it all again this season. They have won back-to-back, which means they're trying to go back-to-back to the back. They have a 15% chance of doing that. Also known as a three-peat, basically, ladies and gentlemen, is what they're trying to go for, to be national champions once again. But again, you're scheduling UT Martin. UT Martin. That sounds more like a law office, the law office of UT Martin, than it does a competitive football team. My best bet in this game, over 55.5 total points. What's up? What do you have on that? You were going to say something. And she says, I don't listen. Actually, she's never said that because she knows I don't.
It's not true. You listen too well.
All right. So my best bet for that game is over 55.5. Not professional. All right, moving on. Number 6, USC is hosting Nevada at 3:30. That's on the Pac-12 network. We've already talked about Caleb Williams. Again, should put up 4 touchdowns. My best bet in this one is USC minus 38. Big numbers. And I try to stay away from them, except for early in the season. Right? Because once teams get actual film that they can watch on these teams and these offenses and actually put together a defense based on the game plan as opposed to what they guess they're going to do, then, that's why we had Oklahoma at 73-0. Way to show up, Arkansas State. Unbelievable. You probably could have pulled people from the state of Arkansas to play better than Arkansas State. Maybe Bill Clinton would be interested in playing. He probably would have did better. Anyway, probably be hitting on the damn cheerleaders the whole time. Right. Moving on. 4:30 kickoff. This is actually going to be a really good game, in my opinion. The spread is 21. Everybody's saying Penn State is actually going to beat down West Virginia. Penn State is the number 7 team in the universe in college football. And the line is 21. But you know what? My best bet, because I listen to people like Pat McAfee on the Pat McAfee show. Lady M, if you have time, I've got you doing I've got you doing fantasy football. I've got you doing your own segment now on the show, and now I got to get you watching and listening to Pat McAfee. That show is awesome. It's a YouTube show. He's a former punter from the Indianapolis Colts, and it's a great show. He's about to go to ESPN. He signed a huge deal with ESPN, so he turned an internet show, maybe speaking this into existence. He turned an internet show into a huge payday.
That's
As ESPN's
cool.
laying people off, they rolled out the Brinks truck for
Right.
Pat McAfee to come in and do his show. Ole Miss up 38-7 at halftime. I got to get some of that action. I got to see what the line is on that. What's next?
Football origins.
Hey, this is you. What are we
is
talking
me.
about this week?
We're talking about how the NCAA even showed up. Like, I know nothing about college football, so I decided to start at the most basic thing I could think of, which is the group of people that are in charge of it.
NCAA. All right. So teach me.
In very early football, they had massive formations and gang tackling, and it's a brutal sport today, but it was incredibly brutal back in the day. In 1904, there were 18 deaths and 159 serious injuries. I think about that number, the 159. Your average football team has 53 players on it?
Yes.
That's more than 3 teams. Serious.
Wow.
Injury worth of players from more than 3 teams.
That's crazy.
This was also before padding and helmets and stuff like that too, and before there were really rules in the game at all about safety. But wow. So at the college level, at this time frame, it was pretty common to hire players, like not even students at the school, like semi-professional, professional players they would hire to be on their college teams. And it ended up creating a lot of controversy. So there were a bunch of universities and colleges that completely dropped football. And then there was also public outcry to almost outlaw the sport. In 1905, President Teddy Roosevelt stepped in. He pulled some of the top school athletic leaders and just told them, like, clean this up or else, kind of a thing. So in the 1905 season, deaths were still continuing to mount. And the New York University Chancellor, Henry M. McCracken, serves his whole name to be said there.
Get in here.
He convened a meeting with 13 schools, and they reformed the rules of the game just to force it to be safer a bit.
Okay.
A little bit after that, it ended up being 62 colleges and universities that became the charter members of the Intercollegiate Athletic Association of the U.S.
All right.
So this was 1905. So the IAAUS was made the official rulemaking body in 1906, which meant if you were going to play college sports, you had to play by the rules that they were putting out there.
Got it.
By 1910, they renamed themselves National Collegiate Athletic Association. So the NCAA has been around since 1905.
113 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. It kind of blew my mind. I wasn't expecting it to be that well established, maybe, of an association. And it predates the NFL by about a decade. So the NFL wasn't official until 1920.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, college was first.
Yeah.
So the NCAA hosted its first national championship in 1921. I found that interesting because we didn't even have the first, they're like retro recognized as the first playoffs in professional football. That was 1932. It was the Bears versus the Spartans, which later became the Detroit Lions. So college was always first. I guess I could there are entire cultures built around college football, and I feel like I understand it a little bit better just seeing how long it's been around and how it was technically the first when it comes to all the official stuff. Some other cool notables in there. After World War II, they introduced what they called the Sanity Code, which was a bunch of reforms involving the financial aid and recruitment processes to try to stop some of the abuses that were happening there. And also just to make sure college sports are actually amateur sports. They're not intended for professionals to be playing at the college level. College level is where you start as an amateur to get to the professional level. So a lot of what we see today is a direct result of that. They did not split. They did not split until divisions until 1973 with all their own little championships.
Oh, wow.
And it
so there was no Power 5 back then. That's awesome.
Right. It wasn't until 1983 that they had any rules about academic performance.
What? It took them that long to realize maybe these guys should be a little smarter before they move on.
That's where the term student athlete cropped up, because that's the first time it started showing up in the history stuff I was reading.
83.
83. That surprised me a bit, because it seems like that would have been all the way back to the Sanity Code when they were talking about academics the first time. But
that is absolutely insane. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a dynasty is a good word for that. That's a long-standing, well-established.
There you go.
Organization.
Yep, and everybody hates them today. Everybody hates them today. Yeah, because like all the rules and stuff.
If they hadn't been made, though, they would have ended up abolishing the sport because of all of the deaths.
So. Oh yeah, this is true. This is very true. At least outside of like a club existence, because they had professional like the Arizona Cardinals was a professional like men's club in Chicago.
Yeah, the Chicago Cardinals.
Yeah, so I mean they would have had that stuff. But I don't think it would have gone past without the guidance and the rules and the safety measures from the NCAA.
We're talking about times where they had prohibition. They definitely would have been capable of just saying, this is a sport that you're not allowed to play anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Back then.
All right. Great segment. Can't wait to see what you come up with next week. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Don't forget to check out our NFL show on Wednesdays. We're going to try to find a schedule that works for everybody, because as soon as we make one, then Arizona State plays on a Thursday freaking night and screws that up for our Thursday show schedule. I believe it's their only Thursday schedule, actually. So
that might work out then.
It may work out. So you know what? I'm going to put you on the spot. Do we do Wednesday, Friday, Wednesday for college, or Wednesday for pro, Friday for college? Actually, or do you want to do Thursday with the Thursday night football game? Like, how do we want to do this? I'm putting you on the spot. We've got singles of fans listening. So
I like the idea of Wednesday for the pro, because then we're doing before any of the professional games for the week.
I like it. I like that. That sounds good.
Because I would prefer to do the show when there's not games on.
They start playing games on Thursdays too, but I think Fridays would probably be better.
Friday.
Okay, so Wednesday, Friday, Wednesday pro, college, Fridays. That's what we're sticking to. And then as soon as we do, we're shipping off to Orlando for over a week on vacation, workcation, in the middle of the month. So yeah, great. Stick with us. We'll be there. So yeah, season 1 or week 1 NFL next week on Wednesday. Finally get real football to talk about. College football week 2, I guess week 2 with week 0, week 1, week 2. We're going into week 2 next week with college football. I'm vegging today. We've got a 40%. I got a text 40% off for DoorDash. So it sounds like we're ordering pizza today, which is awesome. You know what? Why don't we just have the groceries delivered too and just not leave the house? Let's figure that out. That sounds like a plan.
I'll have to take a look at it.
Yeah.
It's so expensive.
Do it. Do it. No pressure at all. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, until next week, this is JD for Lady M with the answer to the trivia question I never asked. Bo Jackson. Yeah, like you got that one right. All right. Later.